We're here with Aaron Maté, and it turns out this proxy war in Ukraine, they're not even calling it, they're not even pretending anymore. They're just saying we're at war with them. And here's the foreign minister of Germany saying that Germany is at war with Russia, just saying it. And so it's very interesting because this was all predicted. The war in Ukraine now was actually planned. They actually wanted it. Who wanted it? NATO wanted this. Germany wanted this. Well, how do we know? Well, first of all, here's a video from 2014. So tell people who this is, Aaron.
So this is George Friedman. He is the founder of a firm called Stratfor, which is a private intelligence firm, very close ties to U.S. intelligence.
And this is from 2014. He said this. Listen to this.
So, the primordial interest of the United States, over which for a century we have fought wars, the First, Second Cold War, has been the relationship between Germany and Russia, because united they are the only force that could threaten us, and to make sure that that doesn't happen. Therefore, it's not an accident that General Hodges, who's been appointed to be blamed for all of this, is talking about prepositioning troops in Romania, Bulgaria, Poland, and the Baltics. This is the intermarium, from the Black Sea to the Baltic that Pilsudski dreamt of. This is the solution for the United States. The issue to which we don't have the answer is what will Germany do? So the real wild card in Europe is that as the United States builds its cordon sanitaire, not in Ukraine, but to the west, and the Russians try to figure out how to leverage the Ukrainians out, we don't know the German position. Germany is in a very peculiar position. Its former Chancellor, Gerhard Schroeder, is on the board of Gazprom. They have a very complex relationship to the Russians. The Germans themselves don't know what to do. They must export. The Russians can't take up the export. On the other hand, if they lose the free trade zone, they need to build something different. For the United States, the primordial fear is Russian capital, Russian technology, German technology and German capital, Russian natural resources, Russian manpower, as the only combination that has for centuries scared the hell out of the United States. So how does this play out? Well, the U.S. has already put its cards on the table. It is the line from the Baltics to the Black Sea.
So that guy is letting the cat out of the bag. He's explaining that with the United States economically, the hegemon of United States imperialism, what it threatens that is Germany coming together with its technology and Russia's natural resources to then become an economic force that the United States couldn't compete with. So in order to squelch that, the United States NATO has decided to try to get Germany to go to war with Russia in Ukraine, and that is exactly what has happened, and that's exactly what this is. That's why this is Germany's at war with Russia. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. Arguing in favor of sending tanks to Kiev, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said the European Union countries were fighting a war against Russia. U.S. and EU officials have previously gone out of their way to claim they were not a party to the conflict in Ukraine, and therefore I've said already in the last days, yes, we have to do more to defend Ukraine. Yes, we have to do more also on tanks. But the most important and crucial part is that we do it together and that we do not do the blame game in Europe, because we are fighting a war against Russia and not against each other. So just to double down and let you know that they've been, not only that video tells you they've been planning this since 2014, this also tells you Angela Merkel, that if we add this to Angela Merkel, the former Prime Minister of Germany's revelations that they were strengthening Ukraine and did not count on the Minsk agreements, that we are talking about a war against Russia that was planned in advance. Don't say later that we didn't warn you. So what has been revealed most recently is that they said when they did the Minsk agreement, which was the Ukraine's peace agreement with the Donbass, meaning that they would stop bombing them and then they would give the Donbass some independence, and that was they never stopped doing that. And the reason why they wanted the Minsk agreement was so that they could build up Ukraine's military to get ready for when Russia did invade, because they would not stop bombing the Donbass in breaking the Minsk agreement. So do you see what this is? They've been planning to provoke Russia to invade Ukraine, which is what they did. And they used the Minsk peace agreement to buy time to help bulk up Ukraine's defenses. That's exactly what they did. So former German Chancellor Angela Merkel told German media in early December that the 2014 ceasefire brokered by Berlin and Paris was actually a ploy to give Ukraine valuable time for a military buildup. Former French President Francois Hollande has confirmed this, while Ukraine's leader at the time, Poroshenko, openly admitted this as well. And here she is, here's the foreign minister going to admit that she doesn't give a shit what her own citizens in Germany care about. She only cares about Ukraine, which is very telling and very bizarre. We'll talk about it. Here it is.
But if I give the promise to people in Ukraine, we stand with you as long as you need us, then I want to deliver, no matter what my German voters think, but I want to deliver to the people of Ukraine.
So she just said it. I don't care what people in Germany, I want to deliver for. Why would a German politician not care about their own citizens, but care more about another country's citizens? I don't know, because she's probably being paid directly from Raytheon. She's probably or she's been threatened by the CIA. Something's going on for her to be like this. By the way, she's the head of the Green Party in Germany, which goes to show you how bad they are over there. But let me bring in Aaron. So Germany's just right out saying that they're at war with Russia now. Isn't that a tactical mistake to say that?
It is, but these aren't rational people. These are people willing to oversee the sabotage of their own economy, to fuel a disastrous proxy war in Europe, all because of what? A bitter hatred toward Russia. And who knows, as you'd say, I think it's fair to speculate that there's some pressure or coercion going on behind the scenes, because what else could explain all these politicians lining up to commit economic suicide for the country and to sentence so many more Ukrainians and Russians to die? It doesn't make any sense. And that clip you played of George Freeman from 2015, he was laying out exactly what the real U.S. goal here is: to sever relations between Germany and Russia, not because Germany and Russia militarily would be a threat to the U.S., but as he explains, their economies would be a threat to U.S. dominance if they work together. And so U.S. policy has been designed to further that goal of undermining Germany and Russia. And that's why before Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a huge U.S. campaign to kill the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Germany resisted that because Germans recognized that this was in their interest. After all, Germany's economy was built with cheap Russian energy. And the U.S. was basically asking Germany to abandon that. And finally, with Russia's invasion, Germany caved to the U.S. And then just to make sure that the Nord Stream 2 wouldn't be flowing again, what happened? It was blown up, which we're supposed to forget about. But somebody blew it up, somebody with an interest in blowing it up. Well, we all know who that is. It's the U.S. And so now, just to make sure there's no chance at all of a German-Russia reconciliation, now Germany gets pressured into sending tanks to Ukraine, which it also resisted. And the U.S. initially was refusing to send its own tanks into Ukraine, the M1 Abrams tanks. But Germany finally said that we'll only send our tanks if you send your tanks too, because Germany doesn't want to be the only person basically putting in tanks for a direct war against Russia. So finally, the Pentagon resisted that, but the proxy warriors in Congress and the rest of Washington won out. And so just today, Biden announced that the U.S. will send tanks as well. Now, these U.S. tanks won't be arriving on the battlefield
for
many, many months, and possibly even until next year, if not beyond. Which shows two things: that one, the U.S. doesn't care about Ukraine's battlefield needs because it's not rushing to ship those tanks out. In fact, the tanks that the U.S. is sending to Ukraine, the M1 Abrams, they're not even existing tanks. These are new tanks that will be built. So while the U.S. claims to care about defending Ukraine and as much as it takes, they're not going to give Ukraine its current stockpile of Abrams tanks. They're going to build new ones, so hand billions of dollars more to the weapons industry, and then send those tanks to Ukraine if there's still a Ukraine left by the time they're ready. Because the point here is not to defend Ukraine. It's to prolong this war as long as possible in order to bleed Russia, all while making a lot of money for the U.S. weapons industry in the process, and all while severing German-Russian relations, making Europe even more dependent on the U.S. for energy and for weapons. It's really the dream of a neocon in Washington, and it's everyone else's nightmare.
So they are set. Yeah. So they've agreed to send tanks now. So there's lots of interesting things about them sending tanks. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, and a lot more places. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member while you're there. You get access to all of our stuff. See you then.